I should have known the moment I saw my name left off the anniversary invitation that this wasn't going to be a celebration. It was going to be another humiliation. My parents had always treated my sister Olivia like royalty, and me like I was staff they tolerated. And this wasn't new. It started small. She got the bigger room, I got the one with the boiler. She got ballet lessons, I got chores. But at some point, it stopped being favoritism and turned into erasure. Their 30th anniversary was supposed to be a family celebration, but I only found out about it when Olivia tagged me in a story on Instagram, getting ready for Mom and Dad's diamond night. The invitation? Sent to her, her boyfriend, even my younger cousins. Me? Not a word. When I called to ask, my mother just said, "Oh, we assumed you'd be working anyway. You're always so busy." I was busy, building the very hospitality company that would one day own half the venues in our city. Back then, I had just acquired a modest but elegant banquet hall through a series of quiet deals and business reinvestments. It had once been the community theater I performed in as a kid. I didn't announce it publicly. I didn't tell my parents. They hadn't cared to ask what I did for a living in years. They just assumed I was in events and treated me like some kind of glorified party planner. So when they booked that venue, my venue, for their milestone anniversary through one of the companies under my holding name, I didn't say a word. I let them send over the guest list. I watched as they assigned Olivia to the head table next to the mayor's wife and local dignitaries, and I saw my name, yes, my name, listed under catering support, next to the bullet point, must wear black. I remember standing in the staff room the evening of the party, holding a tray of champagne flutes, wearing the same black dress I used to wear when I waited tables in college. It was the ultimate irony. I was the invisible daughter once again, serving the people who had ignored me my whole life. As I made my way through the ballroom, my mother gave me a brief glance. No recognition, no warmth, just a nod, like I was just another staffer. Olivia looked radiant in a golden gown, laughing loudly at the head table, basking in the attention like she always had. But here's the thing. They didn't know the speaker system they rented? Mine. The lights dimming for their grand entrance? I orchestrated it. The menu, the servers, the custom wine pairing, all approved by me. And when Olivia requested a special toast to celebrate family, I made sure the mic volume was turned down just enough that her voice cracked awkwardly and everyone missed her punchline. The power was mine. They just didn't know it yet. What they also didn't know was what I had planned for dessert. Because while they were busy toasting each other and dancing under chandeliers I paid for, I was finalizing a surprise that would remind them exactly who I was. The daughter they treated like a waitress, but who owned the building they were dancing in. The night had a rhythm. Glasses clinked, music swelled, and my parents danced in the center of a ballroom they thought belonged to someone else. Olivia floated through the crowd like a chandelier herself, soaking in compliments and attention, like she was the one being honored. I watched from the shadows just as I had for years, except this time, I wasn't powerless. I was waiting. Timing is everything in both theater and revenge. At exactly 8:45 p.m., as planned, I slipped into the control room above the balcony. From there, I could see the whole ballroom, my mother laughing with her friends, my father adjusting his cufflinks like he was the king of the world, and Olivia sipping wine with a smug, glassy smile. I clicked the microphone on. The stage lights dimmed just enough to hush the room. "Ladies and gentlemen," I said, my voice echoing clear and smooth through the speakers. "Before dessert is served, our venue owner would like to say a few words. Please welcome the daughter who served your drinks tonight." Heads turned. Confused whispers rippled through the tables. My mother blinked, eyes narrowing. Olivia looked annoyed. Then the spotlight hit the balcony. I stepped forward, slow and poised, dressed in black, but no longer a server. I wore a sleek blazer with my company's insignia pinned just below the collar. "I'd like to personally welcome you all to tonight's event," I said calmly. "It's been a pleasure hosting you in this space. I've owned this venue for 2 years now. Some of you may know me as staff, but others, like the ones who raised me, didn't know me at all." A gasp rose from somewhere near the front. My father had turned pale. My mother's jaw was tight. "Olivia!" Olivia looked like she'd swallowed her champagne wrong. I continued. "Years ago, I stood on this same stage in a high school play. They didn't show up, said they had plans. I cried in the dressing room and told myself next time I wouldn't need applause. I'd own the theater instead." The room was frozen, every eye on me. Even the servers had stopped moving. "But tonight isn't about resentment," I added with a smile. "It's about celebration. So let's celebrate my parents' 30 years of love, even if it came at the cost of understanding their own daughter." Silence. Then, a strange thing happened. Applause. It started as a nervous patter, but grew. Some were clapping out of politeness, others out of awe, a few out of guilt, but no one clapped louder than the venue staff, who had known my plan all along. I walked down the staircase and into the ballroom as people stood. My mother didn't. She sat still, lips tight, blinking back something she wouldn't name. My father muttered, "You could have told us." I looked him square in the eyes. "You never asked what I'd do." I motioned to the maitre d'. Dessert was served, a cake shaped like the venue's logo with edible gold letters that read, "Built from the ground up, just like me." Olivia stared at it like it might explode. My mother looked away. But the best part? I wasn't angry anymore. I didn't need them to clap. I didn't need them to love me the way they loved her. I had built a world without their approval, and tonight, they were eating dessert in it. After the music resumed, guests came up to me. Old teachers, old neighbors, even some extended family I barely knew, shaking my hand, offering genuine congratulations. Some even said, "I always wondered what you were up to. You've really become something." Meanwhile, Olivia sat silently at the head table, no longer glowing. My mother finally stood, trying to play gracious host. She walked up to me and said, "You could have told us you were behind this. We would have made you part of the celebration." I smiled. "I was part of it," I said, "the part you couldn't control." And then I walked away. Weeks after the party, a letter arrived at my office. It was from my mother, handwritten. The envelope still carried her perfume, the same scent she wore the night she walked past me, tray in hand, without even recognizing me as her daughter. Inside were words that felt foreign coming from her pen. "We didn't know how far we'd pushed you away," she wrote. "I thought you were just quiet. I didn't realize you were disappearing." There was no grand apology, no sudden awakening of maternal warmth, just a few shaky sentences and one line that clung to my ribs like ice. "Olivia may have sat at the head table, but you built the building it stood in." I folded the letter carefully and slid it into my desk drawer beside the ownership deed of the venue. It didn't warm me, but it didn't enrage me either. It just existed, like the echo of something I used to crave, but no longer needed. A month later, I got an application for a new event coordinator position from Olivia. Apparently, her glamorous event planning dreams hadn't panned out. A couple of failed ventures, a burned bridge or two, and now she was looking for something stable. She had no idea who owned the venue she was applying to. My HR assistant, unaware of our history, scheduled her for an interview. On the day of her interview, I made sure I was there. Not front and center, but behind the mirrored glass in the observation room. She arrived 15 minutes early, unusually nervous. She wore a fitted navy blazer and clutched a portfolio like it was her last chance. She glanced around the waiting area with familiar confidence, the same confidence she once used to order me to fetch her a drink. I watched her sit beneath the bronze plaque bearing my name. Owned and operated by Dr. Nora James. She didn't look up at it, not at first. But when she did, I saw her shoulders stiffen. She read it again. Then slowly, her eyes scanned the venue lobby she once ruled like a queen. Her fingers trembled just slightly. My assistant walked over and said, "Dr. James will be with you shortly." Olivia whispered, "Doctor James, as in Nora?" The color drained from her face. I walked out a few minutes later, her lips parted, stunned, but she said nothing. I sat across from her and calmly asked, "Why do you want this job?" She stared at me. No more theatrics, no superiority, just silence. Then she whispered, "Because I need to know how it feels, to earn something. I think I never have." I nodded once. "We'll be in touch." She rose. No hugs, no drama. But as she walked out, she turned and said, "I never asked how it felt for you." "I'm sorry." I didn't reply. Not out of cruelty, but because, for the first time, she had said something honest without expecting forgiveness in return. That night, I hosted a private gathering at the venue for underprivileged girls interested in entrepreneurship. As they sat at that very head table, I told them, "You don't need anyone to hand you a seat. Build your own table." Because in the end, the greatest revenge wasn't humiliation. It was becoming the woman they never saw coming, and the one they would never again underestimate.